We'll proceed with questions now, and colleagues, recognizing that the full committee, almost, less one, is present, Chair will have to cut the time to 5 minutes. Mr. Secretary, I was particularly impressed by your phrase, we're going to watch American democracy in action, as the President and all others address this problem swiftly, in accordance with the rule of law and the American values. In the meantime, however, it's obvious to all of us that the impact of the facts of this case as they are unfolding are affecting our relationship with other nations, our foreign policy. So I ask you, what is that impact as best you can assess it today? And secondly, will this impact of this situation affect in any way the transition that I and others support to take place on June 30th? And will it have any impact on other nations in the coalition to consider their continued participation at this time and the chances of adding additional nations? And lastly, does it have any impact on the force levels that you anticipate, together with your on-scene commanders of CENTCOM, in the near future?
Mr. Chairman, those are tough questions. I'm afraid no one has the ability to know precisely what will unfold. We have seen no shift in coalition countries. In answer to your first question about future coalition countries, I think the key determinative there is whether or not we are successful in getting an additional UN resolution, in which case I think we will get additional countries to participate. It certainly will not have any effect on the determination to have a sovereign responsibility assumed by Iraqis by June 30th. And I would just say one other thing. We have been enormously disadvantaged by false allegations and lies for the better part of a year, and indeed before that with respect to Afghanistan, by terrorists and terrorist organizations alleging things that weren't true. So we have taken a beating in the world for things we were not doing that were alleged to be done, and now we're taking a beating, understandably, for things that did in fact happen.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just add, I just returned from a NATO military committee meeting and had the chance to talk to several of the countries that have major military units inside Iraq. They were very strong in every case about seeing this through, and seemed undeterred by any of the recent events. They were looking forward, and we were talking about the future and about their steadfastness in seeing this mission through.
General, I direct my next question to you. The Department of the Army has been in the forefront to come back and make the early response, is understandable, to this situation, but nevertheless, CENTCOM, as we all know, composed by officers, men, women of all branches of the services. I would anticipate that you have consulted with your colleagues, not only on the Joint Chiefs, but particularly in CENTCOM, and you are making, or have made, and will continue to make, an assessment as to the possible increase to the men and women, the personal increase to the men and women of the armed forces, most particularly in Iraq and perhaps elsewhere in the world, as this story continues to affect very deeply the thinking and actions of others.
Mr. Chairman, absolutely we will, and we should not underestimate that impact. It was that impact of the pictures, given that the report was already reported, given there was a report of pictures, but the actual pictures possibly coming out on a news program that prompted my my call to try to delay that, because I thought those pictures at that particular time would have a particularly bad effect on our troops, perhaps resulting in death to our forces. I think we have a lot of troops in Iraq right now, after talking to General Smith and others, that are probably walking with, I mean, they're involved in combat, but they're walking with their head just a little bit lower right now, because they have to bear the brunt of what their colleagues up in Abu Ghraib did. And it's going to take, as General Schoonmaker said, good leadership and everything else we can do to get them back up on the step, because they are engaged in some very, very important work. I continue to think that the way we will, as I said in my statement, the way we'll win their trust will be soldier by soldier, patrol by patrol, like we're winning the war over there. And we're just going to have to stay at it.
My time has expired.